Titans head coach Brian Callahan joins us now. Brian, what's up? How are you, man?
I'm doing fantastic. How you guys?
What is the feeling after the draft happens and the hay is in the barn? Is there a moment where you kind of can take a deep breath, or is it on to the next thing?
Yeah, there is. I mean, it feels good when it's over. Especially this one with just the amount of work and all. We were well behind the process because of hiring staff and free agency. There's just a lot of things that we had to get crossed off the list, and to get through the draft and feel really good about the class and get a chance to just take a deep breath for maybe the first time in a while. It was good. There's when the draft is over, there's definitely a feeling of relief. Just all that work that goes into it, is sort of been finalized, and you get the fruits of your labor. And then, for me, I'm moving on. Players are here for phase 2 workouts on Monday morning, and we were ready to roll again for that. So there is a little bit of more freedom for me now that the draft part's over. I'm more just involved in the football part, which I enjoyed, but I'm really happy with how the draft turned out.
Well, let's start with the first pick, JC Latham. So we had him on the show on Friday for 30 minutes, and I told someone I don't know that we've had a more interesting interview subject on 3HL, and we've been on since 2010. He's a fascinating guy. I told him I thought he would go to the Chargers at 5 because they had a left tackle that's an all-pro, and that he would fit in at right tackle. And he said he thought kind of the same thing. But you guys end up with JC Latham. What was the comparison there with Joe Alt and JC Latham, and what was the evaluation process between those two guys? And I'm sure you're glad with the guy that you ended up with.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to death. I think JC is going to be a really good player for us for a long time. And picking when you're picking in the top 10, that's what you're hoped for. That's what that player ends up becoming. And when you hit those picks, which you should at that point in the draft, you have a chance to draft cornerstone players. And a left tackle was one of those positions that you hope to have. And between Alt and JC, they're both our 2 top tackles, and we felt very comfortable that either one of those guys had that been the one at the pick. We had no idea what was going to go on in front of us. We had heard Alt to the Chargers. We had heard JC to the Chargers. We had heard that the Giants might take him. I mean, there were just all these things that you don't know. And so you try to get in a world where you're comfortable. Here's the 3 or 4 players that we would love at this pick. Here's the potential trade options. So you sort of stack all of it and talk about it beforehand. And we felt like JC is a cornerstone caliber player that was very much worthy of the pick at 7, and has all the ability in the world to play left tackle. You guys have probably gone into some of the details and why he ended up staying at the right, but he is certainly capable of being a left tackle in the NFL.
Yeah, 1,888 snaps at Alabama, only 2 sacks given up. Brian Callahan, Titans head coach, with us talking about his first draft class.
Coach, a lot of talk about T'Vondre Sweat, and you guys have been pretty open about you and Rand and the whole staff going to spend time with his family to really dive in, because there's, outside talk of character issues and everything that happened. What did you really learn when you got to kind of sit down and dig into him as a person?
Yeah, you learn a lot when you take the time to do it. I think what happens with a lot of these guys is these scouts go in the areas, just as a background, like the scouts go into the school for a couple of years, and they get probably exposure to these kids when they're in their freshman, sophomore years. And, there's a lot of things that come out about kids when they're 18 to 19 years old that get collected over time. And you always hear immaturity, and they need to have a thumb on them, and they go to class. And there's all these things that come up. And then eventually by the time they're juniors and seniors, those things go away, because like any human being that goes to college, you grow up and things change. And so sometimes those things get embedded in what the write-ups on these players are over time, and they get stuck. And I think Rand does a really good job of differentiating what like a real character concern is versus what sort of common immaturity is for, an 18 or 19-year-old kid who, and now, by the way, these 18, 19-year-old kids have a lot of money.
Yes, they do. That's a great point.
And so you try to take it with a grain of salt. You try to do your work and your research, and that's what I think we've done a really good job of. And I think one of Rand's real strengths is identifying what is an actual character concern versus what is standard immaturity for the age and place in their life. And you try to be fair and make sure that you're getting that what you know about the player and the person is matches up with what's being reported. And so we just took the time to make sure that we had a chance to get to know him. And he's a great personality. He's a phenomenal kid. And I think had a lot of the normal issues that most of the 18 and 19-year-olds that live in Austin have when they go to the University of Texas. So I don't think he's alone in that. And so a kid that likes to have a good time and probably maybe parties more than they should have early on, and start to learn lessons and figure out, if I take this part a little more seriously, I might make myself a lot of money,
Yeah.
And I think that those are the things that happen.
Slay just raised his hand when you said that, by the way.
I know. I'm like, we got one of those sitting in here. Maybe
Don't be me,
partied
Coach.
a little too much in college.
Maybe me too. I was 5.5 years there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully I was just a little bit before cell phones, not too much, but in terms of the cameras,
Yeah, me
no
too.
one caught me doing anything dumb when I was in college, but trust me, I did plenty of it. So,
Yeah.
it's just our process was just to make sure that obviously the incident's important and the trouble that he got in, he was forthcoming on what happened, how it happened, and then the process involved in it, and took responsibility for his part in the actions, which is obviously we don't want to get behind the wheel at any point when you've had anything to drink. That's not very smart. It's a really dumb decision, and ultimately could have cost him his life at the end of the day. And so his awareness and willingness to accept his fault in the process, and then being forthcoming, honest about how it happened, what happened, it made us feel a lot more comfortable about what kind of person we're getting. People make mistakes, and I think that he learned some pretty valuable lessons in the process. And I think we're going to get the best of him when he gets here. And like a lot of guys out there, they need to know that you care about them and you got their back too, and they tend to give you their best. And so that's part of that process and why we went down there. And, we felt really comfortable with the person after that visit. And again, he came in here right after his DUI incident, like a day or two after he came in here on his 30 visit. And I think Rand alluded to it as well, that he was just very much on the defensive, trying to make sure he could clear his name. And we just didn't feel like we got the real version of Big Sweat. And so we wanted to make sure we did a little more research on it. And I think what happens when you do that is you allow yourself the opportunity to make a really informed decision, as opposed to just taking a write-up on a kid and saying, he's off our board, without really doing the homework. And as a player, he's worth that effort, I guess, is the point that I'm getting at, is that his film as a defensive lineman was worth the effort to make sure we knew what we were getting.
Well, and along those lines, I mean, did the phone ring for during that pick or whatever? I mean, you guys, obviously there was draft capital is something that you guys needed, but you felt that he was important enough at that position to not maybe take an offer, right?
Correct. The phone rings. I mean, obviously the beauty of the way the draft is set up now is you have a whole day to get squared away for the early part of the second and third rounds. And, there's plenty of conversations, plenty of phone calls. Again, not every phone call and every deal is one that's worth taking either. And there's definitely, we have all of the trade scenarios and the trade charts and the point charts. We have all the different ones. And, you want to make sure that if someone's coming up for a player and they're coming up that high in the round, that, they pay the premium for what that is. And some deals were good and some we considered and some were not at all. And that's just how it goes. The phone rings all the time during the draft. You have a lot of those discussions. And ultimately, we felt like at that point, you start the round out picking whatever we were, seventh in the round, and there's a pot of players that you're comfortable with at 38. That if you trade out of that spot, you leave that world of player into a different world of player, depending on how you have your board stacked and ranked. And we felt like had we moved out of that spot where we were dropping down a level of player that was available to us in the high part. And again, not to say we didn't consider some of the offers, but ultimately felt like the impact that Sweat could make for us in the defensive line was better than acquiring some of the capital that was offered. And again, not that they weren't considered or we didn't talk through all those scenarios, but ultimately landed on picking what we felt like was going to be a high impact player.
Titans head coach Brian Callahan with us. We as fans watch the draft, and so the Falcons go Michael Penix Jr. at quarterback. Is there at least like a somewhat of a reaction in the room when like weird things happen during the draft, and then you keep moving after that?
There's sometimes you go, ooh, I didn't see that one coming. But we had actually had, to be honest though, we had started to hear a little bit of rumblings that they might do that.
Wow.
So it wasn't a full surprise for us necessarily. It's always surprising when you see it happen in a moment, but definitely had heard some, and again, it's draft season rumors, so you never really know what's real.
Exactly.
But there was some chatter out there kind of in some league circles that they might go quarterback at 8 if there was one that they liked. So that wasn't like a full surprise, but it definitely kind of makes you kind of go, whoa, I guess that was real.
So would it still have been a no-brainer with JC Latham had the Giants gone quarterback right in front of you and Malik Neighbors would have been sitting there?
Those are the discussions that we have long debates about prior to the draft, and so we had gotten to the point where we felt like the addition of JC was going to be an important part of building our offensive line, and one that we needed to put some investment into. And so you'll never know the full answer, but
that's a good enough answer, though.
Yeah. But we have those conversations. Those things were all we worked every possible scenario.
Our guy Mike Detillier down in Louisiana has covered LSU for 40 years, done draft reports and all this stuff, and he's like, I'm going to tell you right now. He said Malik Neighbors is Jamar Chase, and I started thinking about you guys with Jamar Chase. I'm like, I don't know, but to us it's an entertainment thing. It's not like life or death. I lose my job if I don't do this right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. It's all fun to talk about until you got to put the card in.
Yeah.
But it was. I mean, he's a fantastic player. We really felt like he was an impact receiver, and that's a good comparison. I mean, I felt like when I watch him play and I look at how he's built, he is more similar to Jamar than a lot of guys are in that respect. So I think I'm glad he went to the NFC and not the AFC.
There you go.
But he's a fantastic player. I think he's going to have a really good start to his career.
I know you have a meeting at 4:30, but we still have time for you to, I think, right, Slade, go into the boom boom room a little bit.
No question. I get to go back.
Oh yeah, Coach, you did such a good job, man.
Yeah, you've been here a while. Yeah,
we get to open it up for you now, man. You got a key now, so come on in.
Let's go.
Yes. One man on his way here to the boom boom room.
That's right, man. The Tennessee Titans head coach Brian Callahan is walking back into the boom boom room. Not the bedroom of the boom boom room. He'll be in the living room of the boom boom room. But it's brought to you by Low T.
This man?
Hey, man, listen. Anything goes in the boom boom room. It's just, it could be a party. Who knows? But, Callie, appreciate you coming back in, man. You ready to do this?
Of course. Let's do it.
All right, some quick hitters, man.
Do it.
Fan of hot chicken or not since you've been in Nashville for a while?
Oh, big fan.
Okay.
Big.
Like
How
super
hot?
hot? Yeah. Like, where are we going with this?
I would say comfortably hot. I like a little heat turned up on it, but not crazy. I don't want my eyes to water when I eat.
Yeah, from the chicken eater coach, I always remember, man, to go in hot and come out hot. Here we go. People that you don't correct during duty. Why should coach or teacher not be on this list? Now, let me tell you the list. Policeman.
Okay.
Policeman is one on the list. Firefighter. A pastor. A teacher. A coach, and a barber. These are people you don't correct when they're doing their business, when they're in the line of duty. You can correct them after, but is there a reason why coach and teacher should not be on this list?
Should not be.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Or should they be on there? Should they be ranked number 1 on the list?
Well, no. Everybody else there seems like they're doing a either one, saving a life, or two, making sure nobody's fate gets messed up. So those feel like really important things. Coaching and teaching, I think you can. The world's not ending if you get interrupted in the moment. So I could make the case why they should not be on that list.
All right, okay, cool. Number 3, Mother's Day or Father's Day, and who gets the best gifts on those days?
Ooh, careful, coach.
Oh, Mother's Day. Mother's Day.
Okay, now
absolutely.
Now let me tell you this, Coach. I'm starting a crusade every year around this time because Father's Day is after, and we always get forgotten about. We always get our days blended into 4th of July when we got a barbecue and things of this nature. But I just want to know if you're on board for the crusade of fathers being more recognized on Father's Day. That's all I want.
You know what? I'll join the crusade for the recognition. I'm on board with that.
Hey, there we go. All right. Okay, now, got 2 more questions for you.
Yeah.
The media that you've dealt with so far in Nashville are cicadas. Which do you look more forward to dealing with?
Which one? What was the first one?
The media, the Nashville media that you got to deal with, or the cicadas that are on the way. Which one do you look forward to dealing with more? Now don't forget your introductory press conference. How everybody they were kind of like cicadas in there. So just need to know.
It was. Oh man, no, I actually really enjoy our media here.
Okay.
I like the way those guys interact. It's fun. But this. I can't believe I thought the cicadas just came like last year.
Dude, they were up there with you guys.
Callie, this is going to be a cicada revolution.
Yeah.
It's like the first time in 221 years we've had like 2 different kinds of cicadas at the same time. Good luck with practice.
Yeah, good luck with camp.
Oh, that's going to be we just had it up in Cincinnati like a summer ago.
Y'all had it either a year or 2 ago. Yep.
So it's you, Coach.
Yep.
Yeah.
You brought them with you.
Yeah, nothing like this.
I'm an experienced cicada navigator, so we should be able to make it work. This thing's wild, though. What a wild thing.
Hey, tennis rackets work well, so you can be on the practice field with a tennis racket.
Oh, God.
That's right.
All right, last one, Coach. What's more impressive? Rand keeping his beard manicured the way it is, or JC Latham squatting over 900 plus pounds?
You know what? I think Rand's beard is way more impressive.
Also, can we not allow JC Latham to go that high on the squat anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we don't. Yeah, we don't do that. There's not a whole lot. We don't put 900 pounds on people's back at this level. We'll make sure we keep them healthy. Rand's beard is meticulous. It is well manicured. It is manicured regularly, and it always looks good.
I love it, Coach. All right, appreciate it, Coach. We had to hit you with quick hitters this time. You survived the boom boom room again, man. Let them out.
Oh, thank God.
Well. Looks like you did good in the boom boom room. Hoo-wah.
All right, Robbie Bourne has given us 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, I do have a question, Coach, because you mentioned starting phase 2 workouts. So just curious, with a new staff in place and all of that, what do these look like for you guys? Like, what goes on behind the scenes in phase 2 workouts?
Yeah, they're great. It's our first time to be. We had the mini camp last week, which was sort of an introduction to what phase 2 is going to be like for us. It's kind of how we use that time. But it's a chance for us to get exposed to our players and our players to get a chance to see how we function on the field. There's a relationship that grows there, and there's some expectations that get set, and how we want to work and what we want to be about when we're on the field. It's fantastic. It's a good start. It's obviously the league rules have it pretty manageable, so these aren't long days on these guys. It's not this crazy long work day. They're in here for about a half a day, and they get their lifting and running and a little bit of football, which is great. So it's a chance for us to do the simple things: line up, break a huddle, line up, run some plays, look at some targeting in the run game, get some timing down in the passing game. So it's a really important part of our process, a really important part of getting ready to get football going in July at training camp.
Well, so
we need every minute of this time.
I'm sure you do. Head Coach Brian Callahan with us, and I know you're going to be asked about Cedric Gray and the green dot, and Jarvis Brownlee, who says he loves to hit people, which I like. Jaquan Jackson saying that Spears was at his draft party, and James Wilson moving to linebacker, and all these things. But we got one more important thing that we need to do on this show, I think.
Coach.
Yeah.
I am on board with this. I've been wearing this jersey since the season ended, leading up to the draft, and I will continue wearing it day in and day out because I'm Team Burks. Give me something good, man, that you're seeing out of my guy Treylon Burks, Coach. Come on.
I'm sorry,
I'm right here
Coach.
for
You
it,
know
Coach.
what? That's a great question because he's really had a fantastic start to the offseason program. I've been happy with what he's done. I have
no
though.
idea.
I mean that. That's honest. He's done a great job of learning and getting a bunch of different things down, and I think he's really stacked a handful of really good days together as we started, and so I'm optimistic about him contributing for us, and I think he's gone about it the right way. So really, I got a lot of respect for how he started it off. So
you just made his day, Coach.
Yes!
You have no idea what you're doing right now, Coach.
Yeah.
Burks in the slot.
He's going to do a little bit of everything. You know, he's got some versatility for us, so he'll be able to do some stuff outside. And really, ultimately, it's my role and our coaching staff's role is to, you know, find a handful of things that he can really help us with and highlight those as much as possible. And so some of it might be in a slot, some of it might be outside, but I'm fired up, man. I think he's got a chance to help us.
Because everybody reads into everything you say about everybody. So when you didn't mention him as a slot guy, I mean, does he fit in there? Or is he outside?
Oh yeah, he can fit in there. That thing kind of got blown out a little bit of proportion, but yeah, he can fit inside. I was talking more about like slot only players, guys that are kind of just slots. Whereas Treylon's got some versatility to play everywhere. He can play outside, he can play inside. And so we just got to find what those things are for him. So I think he's got a chance to help us in a lot of different spots.
And stay healthy. Love it.
That's the key for everybody. That's all of us.
Yes, it is, Coach.
Go to your meeting, Coach. Go to your meeting. Get out of here.
We appreciate you, Coach.
Thank you, Callie.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, see you, man.